Good morning, children. Already we have completed the first chapter, Matter in Our Surroundings, and today's class we will start new chapter. Children, in our daily life we use milk, ghee, butter, salt for cooking, okay, and mineral water and juice for drinking. Okay, you might have seen the pockets of milk, ghee, butter, and salt. You may in that pockets they have written 100% milk, 100% ghee, 100% butter, 100% salt in bold letters. Okay, it means they are pure milk. It is pure milk. They are saying that milk which is packed, it is pure. That ghee is pure, butter is pure. Okay, for a common man, the milk which is taken from cow. Okay, for a common man, he says that milk which is taken by the cow is pure milk. Okay, because this milk is not adulterated. It means this milk is not mixed with any other ingredients. Okay, but if you take pocket milks, in that some preservatives are added. Okay, some preservatives are added to avoid the spoilage of that milk. Okay, if you take ghee, butter, okay, in these two cases also some of the preservatives are added to prevent their spoilage. Okay, but the ghee and butter which are obtained from the cow, okay, which is prepared from the milk of the cow, is actually pure according to the common man. Okay, as a chemistry student, we can say that this milk, ghee, butter, okay, they are not pure, they are impure. Okay, according to common man, all these things, milk, ghee, butter, which are obtained by the cow, they are pure. But these packed milk, ghee, butter, okay, they are not pure because they are added with some ingredients to prevent their spoilage. Okay, if we take this salt, okay, it is a sodium chloride. Okay, it is also added with some ingredients like iodine. Some of the salts are iodine free. Okay, next we will see this mineral water and juice. Are they pure? No. Okay. Again, this juice, it is also added with the ingredients or preservatives to prevent the spoilage of this juice. Okay, so as a common man we can say they are pure milk, ghee, butter, okay, which are obtained by cow, they are pure. But as a chemistry student we cannot say they are all pure, because in all these things, okay, milk, ghee, butter, okay, they have some other they are not pure because they are in milk is a mixture of water, fat, proteins. Okay, we will study in detail about impure, pure substances and what are the types of pure, how pure substances are classified, and all that things we will learn in the chapter. Is matter around us pure? Okay, this is this second chapter. So let's see milk. Okay, milk actually, as a chemistry student we can say that milk is a impure because it is a mixture of water, fat, proteins, etc. Okay, next we will see then what is pure substance. Okay, what is pure substance? All the constituents of the particles, all the constituent particles of the substances are the same in their chemical nature. Then we can say that the substance is pure. All the constituent particles of the substances are same. Then we can say substance is pure. Or in other words, we can also say that substance consists of a single type of particles. Substance which consists of a single type of particles. Single means identical type of, same type of particles are, if it is having same type of particle, then we can say that that substance is pure. Okay, we will see in detail, okay, what is pure, how these pure substances are classified, and also we will study their properties. Okay, see, now we will see the classification of matter. Okay, already in first chapter we have learned the what is matter. Matter is anything which has space and occupies the matter is anything which has mass and occupies the space is called matter. Okay, so matter is can be classified into two classes: pure substances and mixtures. Mixtures also we can say mixtures as a impure substances. Okay, this pure substance is further classified into elements and compounds. Further, these elements are classified into metals, non-metals, metalloids. Okay, next, these impure substances or mixtures are classified into homogeneous mixtures and heterogeneous mixtures. We will see in detail. First, we will see the pure substances. The substance that has a uniform composition and always has the same texture, color, taste at a given temperature and pressure is called pure substances. Okay, once again I'll read this. The substance that has a uniform composition and always has the same texture, color, taste at a given temperature and pressure is called pure substance. Okay, it should have the substance, if it is having same composition and it should have the same texture, color, taste at a given temperature and pressure, then we can say that substance is pure. And this pure substance is not possible to change the composition of pure substance by any physical methods. Okay, we can't change the composition of the pure substances by any physical methods. Okay, physical methods includes grinding, dissolving, etc. Okay, we will see example, grinding of a sugar. If I grind sugar crystals, okay, actually sugar crystals are somewhat larger in size, so when we grind it, the size of the crystals becomes small on grinding. Okay, but here the composition of this sugar molecule is not changed. Okay, but only its size is reduced. Size of the sugar crystal is reduced. So we can't change the composition of pure substances by any physical methods. Also, dissolving of, one more example, dissolving of the sugar in water. Okay, if we dissolve sugar in water, its particles breaks into smaller particles. Sugar crystal breaks into smaller particles and it is distributed among the water molecules. But the composition of the sugar, chemical formula of the sugar remains as it is. Okay, so next we will see the classification of pure substances. Further, these pure substances are classified into elements and compounds. Okay, first we will see elements. Pure substance which are made up of only one kind of atoms or elements. The pure substance which is made up of only one kind of atoms. Okay, the pure, if the pure substance is having only one kind of atoms, then that pure substance is known as element. For example, see here, we can give example for this: copper teapot. Okay, copper teapot. Here, this copper teapot is made up of only copper atoms. So this copper teapot is made up of only copper atoms. No other atoms are present. Therefore, It is an example for the copper element. Next we'll see pure gold. Okay, this pure gold contains only gold atoms. Au is the symbol of the gold element. Okay, next iron nail. If you take iron nail, it is made up of only iron atoms. No other atoms are present in iron nail. Next, see oxygen. Okay, oxygen, it is made up of only one kind of atoms, that is oxygen atom is present. Okay, so it is also an example for the element. Hydrogen, it is also hydrogen gas. It is also made up of only one kind of atoms, that is hydrogen. This oxygen is made up of only one kind of atoms, that is oxygen. If you take this nitrogen, it is also a element, because here this nitrogen gas is made up of one kind of atoms, that is nitrogen. Coming to carbon. Okay, if you take graphite, that graphite contains only carbon atoms. Therefore, graphite contains only carbon atoms. Therefore, this carbon is also an element. Next, we'll see the characteristics of elements. Okay, these elements cannot be subdivided into simpler parts by any chemical means. Okay, we cannot further divide this element into simpler parts by any chemical means or physical means. Okay, see, for example, if you take a gold brick, and go on continuous breaking. Okay, go on breaking this gold brick, finally we'll get the atom, which is indivisible. Further we can't break this atom. Therefore, this will get the gold atom, that is Au. Okay, so we cannot subdivide the elements into simpler parts by any chemical means or physical means. Second characteristic is everything in the world is made up of elements individually or in combination with other elements. Okay, so if you take anything on this earth, okay, if you take anything on this universe, each and everything on this universe is made up of elements. For example, if you take rice, okay, rice, it has carbohydrate, vitamins. Okay, these carbohydrate and vitamins, they contains carbon, hydrogen and oxygen atoms again. Okay, so this rice is made up of element. If you take wood, it is also made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, okay, phosphorus, like other elements. If you take sand, okay, it consists of silicon, aluminium, oxygen elements. If you take oxygen gas, okay, it consists of only oxygen atoms. If you take gold, it consists of only gold atoms. If you take pen, okay, that ink, it is made up of again carbon, hydrogen atoms. Okay, that cover, pen cover, it is also again it is made up of chemicals. Okay, those chemicals are made up of elements. If you take chair, it is also a chemical. It is made up, chair is also made up of chemical compounds. If you say chemical compounds, again those chemical compounds are made up of elements. So if you take any example on this universe, each and everything, it may be living or non-living thing, they are made up of elements. Without elements, there is no life on this earth. Today we know the 118 elements. Presently we know 118 elements, and these 118 elements are arranged in a chart called periodic table. Among 118 elements, 92 elements are naturally occurring. They are found in nature. But remaining elements, that is 26 elements, are man-made. They are synthesized in the laboratory. Among these elements, most of the elements, they are in solid state, and some of the elements, they are in gaseous state. Okay, most of the metals, they are in solid state except mercury. Mercury is a metal, but it is in liquid state. It exists in liquid state, whereas remaining metals, they exist in solid state. And non-metals, most of the non-metals, they are in gaseous state except bromine. This bromine exists in liquid state. Okay, mercury and bromine are the two elements in the periodic table which exist in liquid state. Remaining elements, they exist in solid and gaseous state. Most of the metals, almost all the metals, they exist in solid state, and non-metals, they exist in gaseous state. Okay, further these elements, okay, classification of elements. Further, these elements are classified into solids, liquids, gases on the basis of their physical state. On the basis of their physical state, these elements are classified into solid, liquid, gas. Okay, we can give an example for the solid, that is copper pot. For liquid, we can give bromine. For gas, we can give oxygen, nitrogen. Okay, so already we have learned about these states of matter in previous class, so I'm not going in detail about this classification. Next, we will see the classification based on their variation in their properties in periodic table. In the periodic table, how the properties of these elements are varying. Okay, on this basis, elements are classified into metals, non-metals, metalloids based on their variation in their properties. Elements are classified into metals, non-metals, metalloids. We will see one by one. First one is metals. They are luxured or they are luxurious, that is they have shining surface. These metals are silvery grey or golden yellow in color. For example, silvery grey, that is silver. Golden yellow, we can give an example, that is gold. And these metals, they conduct heat and electricity. For example, copper and aluminium. Also iron, they conduct heat and electricity. Most of the metals, they conduct heat and electricity. Next property is these metals are ductile. These metals are ductile. Ductile means it is a property of a metal which can be drawn into wires. Okay, this property of a metal is known as ductile. Ductile means can be drawn into wires. They can be drawn into thin wires. For example, copper wire, aluminium wire, okay, etc. Iron wires. So next characteristic is malleable. It means metals can be hammered into thin sheets. They can be made into thin sheets. For example, silver chips, silver ornaments, gold ornaments, aluminium foils, copper bezels. Okay, they are all they can be made into thin sheets. Some more other examples are also there, but I am here taking few examples. And these metals are sonorous, that is they make a ringing sound when hit any hard object. Okay, if you take iron rod and you hit that iron rod on table, and you keep that you take that iron rod to your to your these metals are sonorous, that is they make a ringing sound when they hit hard objects. Okay, if you take a iron rod and hit that iron rod on wood table, and bring that iron rod near to your ear immediately after hitting the table, you will observe some kind of ringing sound. That is that kind of sound is sonorous. Okay, that ringing sound. Okay, this property of an metal to make a ringing sound when it hits a hard object is known as sonorous. Example: gold, silver, copper, sodium, potassium. Okay, mercury, not mercury because it is liquid. The sodium is also not there. This gold, silver, copper, iron, okay, they will make ringing sound when they hit the hard objects. Next we will see known metals. These known metals are known luxurious, means they do not have shining surface, and they display variety of colors. Okay, these known metals are bad conductors of heat and electricity except graphite. This graphite can conduct the electricity. And these known metals are non-sonorous. It means they do not make ringing sound when they hit hard object, and they are non-malleable. They cannot be drawn into thin wires, or they are non-ductile. They cannot be drawn into these known metals are non-malleable. They cannot be drawn into thin sheets, or they cannot be made into thin sheets, and they are non-ductile. They cannot be drawn into thin wires. Examples for non-metals, that is nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, fluorine, phosphorus, etc. All these most of the non-metals, they are in gaseous state except this bromine, and that of metals, they are in solid state except that mercury, which is in liquid state. We will see third type of elements, that is metalloids. Okay, the elements with intermediate properties between those of metals and non-metals are called metalloids. Okay, the elements which are having intermediate properties between those of metals and non-metals are called metalloids. Examples for metalloids are silicon, boron, germanium, arsenic, antimony, tellurium, polonium. Okay, these are the 7 metalloids. In periodic table. These 7 elements, they exhibits the properties which are intermediate between metals and non-metals. Okay, next we will see compounds. Substance composed of 2 or more elements. Okay, substance composed of 2 or more elements in a fixed ratio or in a fixed proportion is called as compounds. Okay, compounds, it is a type of pure substance. Okay, substance which is composed of 2 or more elements in a fixed ratio or in a fixed proportion is called as compounds. These elements combine chemically with one another in a fixed proportion, or we can also define like this: the substance which is formed by 2 or more elements in a fixed ratio is known as compounds. Example: for the compounds water, methane, salt. If we take water, what is the chemical formula of water? H2O. Okay, here hydrogen and oxygen. This is one element and this is another element. This hydrogen gas, it catches fire, and this oxygen is a supporter of fire. So these two elements, they have different properties, and on combining they will form water, which is used as a fire extinguisher. Okay, so here two hydrogen will combine with one oxygen to form one molecule of water. Okay, to form one molecule of water. Here combining ratio of hydrogen and water is 2:1. This is the fixed ratio of combining of this hydrogen and oxygen. So here this water is an compound because this water is formed by combination of two elements, that is hydrogen and oxygen, in a fixed ratio, that is 2:1. Next we'll see methane. Chemical formula of the methane is CH4. Okay, here carbon and hydrogen, these are the two different elements. They combines in a ratio 1:4. They combines in a ratio 1:4 to form a single methane molecule. Okay, here combining ratio is 1:4. This ratio is fixed. Okay, to form a one methane molecule, one carbon and 4 hydrogen atoms must combine chemically, and they have to form this methane. Next we'll see salt. Salt is nothing, that is common salt, we can say, or table salt. Its chemical formula is sodium chloride. Here sodium is one element and chlorine is another element. These two elements, they combines in a ratio 1:1. One sodium and one chlorine will combine to form a one molecule of sodium chloride. Okay, here this combining ratio is 1:1. Okay, these are the compounds. These compounds are formed by two different elements, and these two different elements combines in a fixed ratio. So these example, they are this water, methane, salt, they are examples for these compounds. Compounds can be broken down into its elements by chemical or electrochemical reactions. Okay, here in previous case, that is in elements, we had seen that elements cannot be divided, they cannot be subdivided into simpler parts by any chemical means. Okay, but these compounds can be broken down into its elements by chemical or electrochemical reactions. Okay, example, see here, example for this water. Okay, by passing the electricity, we can break this water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen. We can break this water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen. It is this process of breaking of water by passing the electricity is known as electrohydrolysis. Electro means electricity, hydro means water, lysis means breaking. In presence of electricity, water breaks into hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, but elements cannot be broken down into simpler parts by any chemical methods, but compounds can be broken down into its elements by chemical or electrochemical reactions. Okay, this is an electrochemical reaction. Here we are using the electricity to break this water molecule into its respective elements. Okay, children, in today's class we had learnt about the pure substances. Okay, in next class we will study what are mixtures and what are the types of mixtures.